Right, onwards and upwards, everybody. We've heard what's changing and trending in fashion and beauty. Next, we're going to talk about one thing that is universally consistent, and that is revenue and the importance of being able to prove it. In this session, we're going to be covering loyalty benchmarks and how to hit them. While I get my screen shared, please join me in welcoming two of my colleagues, Freddie and Hannah, to the stage. Freddie and Hannah, can you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do at LoyaltyLion? Freddie, let's come to you first.
Freddie, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hello everyone. My name is Freddie Wynn. I lead the product data team here. So my role at LoyaltyLion is very much around analytics, making sure brands can better understand their customer behavior, how customers are engaging with the program, where the opportunities are with their customers. So very entrenched on the data side and helping to bring more insights into our merchants' hands.
Amazing. And Hannah, over to you.
Hannah. Oh. Hi guys, I'm Hannah. I am a Principal Customer Success Manager here at LoyaltyLion. My role is to essentially work with brands who use the LoyaltyLion platform and ensure they are best set up for success.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Before we jump into the benchmarks, let's consider a couple of what I think are quite scary stats. So research that LoyaltyLion did at the end of last year showed that 88% of Shopify stores do believe that a loyalty program can increase revenue. So great news. However, a loyalty survey by Ernst & Young at a similar time revealed that actually only 41% of loyalty leaders are able to quantify the impact of their loyalty programs, and 61% avoid using loyalty metrics in their strategic decisions because they don't have the confidence in their data. That's a bit of a tragic tale, to have so many people investing in loyalty but not feeling able to confidently report on its impact. So I'm really excited to explore how that's changing. As I mentioned, we've got two LoyaltyLion stars to help us do that. So Freddie, I'm going to come to you first to find out more about these loyalty benchmarks. Can you tell us exactly what the benchmarks your team have created are and why they're so important?
Yeah, of course I can. So just to start with, we looked at a key loyalty performance metric to start with. So that key metric is LoyaltyLion attributable revenue. So this is revenue that is generated from referred customer revenue. It is revenue that has come from LoyaltyLion event-specific email and SMS revenue. It is purchases that are made with a LoyaltyLion reward associated to it. And then lastly, it's any redeeming member repeat purchase revenue. What that means in like plain English, this is basically all revenue generated by customers who are exclusively engaged in the loyalty program. So that's the metric that we wanted to start off by benchmarking. So how do we actually do the benchmarking itself? So what we've done is we create customer cohorts, and there are three primary characteristics that we look at for a relevant cohort. The first is business size. So what is the business's annualized GMV? How much revenue is the business generating on a yearly basis? Second is the category that the brand or business is operating in. So are they fashion, are they beauty, are they cosmetics, and so on. And then lastly, really, really critically, we look at time since launch. We know that programs mature over time, and over time, customers become more associated with the program, they understand it better, they engage with it more. So to compare apples for apples, we really need to understand how long a program has been live. And so we're benchmarking, so we look at time since launch as a critical component for our LoyaltyLion attributed revenue benchmark. So the benchmark is effectively how much attributable revenue is the program providing to similar brands to yourself. One of the really important things to stress is that we are looking at actual program performance. So we look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and we look across our entire book of business. It doesn't matter what model you support. We look at every customer that is using LoyaltyLion and has a loyalty program for their customers, and we're not massaging the results, which in my opinion makes this very real and very trustworthy.
Amazing and super, super valuable. Hannah, you're actually using these benchmarks with some of your customers already. So I'd love to know, how are they going down? How are brands that you work using them so far?
Yeah, so far brands are loving them. I think what they particularly enjoy about the benchmarks is, like Freddie said, being able to see how they're performing against other brands in their industry and of brands that are a similar size to them as well. That's something that is critical for people using a loyalty program who may not have used it before. And sometimes I do kind of chat to brands who, like I said, they've never had a loyalty program before. They don't really understand what good looks like. So we obviously cover metrics during our discussions together, and we run through performance of the program so far. But what the benchmarks allow us to do is to demonstrate some context, so they can actually see, okay, we've generated this much revenue, and then if they're comparing against another brand who's been launched the same amount of time, they can then see, okay, how are they doing? Do we need to make any optimizations to try and get us closer to that benchmark? So yeah, it's great context for them, especially for people who are maybe new to a loyalty program and haven't worked with one before.
Absolutely. Great to have that visibility. And so, especially as you say, when you sort of hit that, okay, maybe we've been live a year, what do we do now? We've been live 2 years, what do we do now? It's great to have that continuation from launch, I think. Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, Freddie, show us the benchmarks themselves. What do they actually tell us?
Yeah, so it's quite funny. You spend a long time working on something, and then the outcome is something that looks quite simple. So what we're looking at here is, our benchmark data. I just really want to stress that this is 10 plus years worth of LoyaltyLion data. This is 250 million plus shoppers, and it's 10,000 plus brands. There is a lot goes into computing and calculating it and creating something that looks quite simple, but under the surface is obviously very complex. So what are we looking at then? Hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. We are looking at beauty and cosmetic brands here that have an annual GMV of between 5 and 10 million US dollars. We normalize everything to USD for technical reasons, but yeah, 5 and 10 million US dollars. On the x-axis, what you can see here is time since launch. So we've capped it at 3 years here because that's kind of most relevant for most brands when they're first launching a program. And then on the y-axis, you have the cumulative LoyaltyLion attributable revenue. Hopefully it's quite obvious, but if you're a brand in this category and you are doing roughly between 5 and 10 million GMV per annum, this is what you can expect from LoyaltyLion to contribute to your revenues. So typically, we've split out between average brands and top performing brands, but average brands generate just under 3 million attributable revenue over 3 years. And then high performing brands, they're generating north of 6 million, which is quite something. So I think there's a couple of interesting things here. So if you are a brand that is considering loyalty right now, hopefully it's clear what the opportunity cost of not investing in loyalty today is. And then furthermore, if your competitors do offer loyalty, this is what they're currently capitalizing on in terms of opportunity. So yeah, hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory in terms of the benchmarking data. That leads me on to my next point, actually, I think is very fascinating. The next slide. So what we're looking at here, and we can slice this data in lots of different ways, but what I find really interesting is this is loyalty attributable revenue as a percentage of total revenue. So it's how much is your loyalty program contributing to total revenue. Now, what we're looking at here is we've actually split this out to GMV bands. So here we've got 3 different GMV band slices, 1 to 2, 2 to 5, and 5 to 10. And what you can see here is it doesn't matter how big your business is. It doesn't matter if you're a 10 million GMV brand merchant or if you're a 1 million GMV brand merchant. Loyalty contributes in the same way. So loyalty isn't for your big brands with large marketing teams and sophisticated CMS big CMS teams. It's not. It's for any brand. Loyalty has similar impact irrespective of the GMV size. So I think that tells a really interesting story.
Absolutely. I think it's great to know that actually you don't have to wait to get started. If you're a little bit smaller, you maybe don't have a full team, still good to get going because you will still see that gain. That's fantastic. Thank you, Freddie. So there's the data, lots more data, and we'll let you know how to get your hands on it soon. But we also need to know how to act on that data. So Hannah, this is where you step into the spotlight. Let's start with getting started. If somebody wants to make sure that by the end of year 1, they're hitting that average performance benchmark, what 3 things would you suggest that they focus on to get those basics right?
So the first thing I would say is the structure of the loyalty program, just making sure you have good cashback ratios to make it really enticing for customers to keep coming back and making repeat purchases and even engaging in the program. So that's the first thing. The second thing that links into the structure of the loyalty program is your activity rules and your rewards. So just making sure that they are appealing and they resonate to your customers. customers. No one wants a loyalty program that is very bare, doesn't have much to offer. So you really want to make sure it's really enticing. And like I said, it resonates with what a customer wants. And the last thing, this I cannot stress enough, is visibility. This is probably the biggest thing that I see brands do wrong when they first launch a loyalty program, is just not kind of popping it front and center. So really make sure you think about the on-site journey for your customers. Have you mentioned it in your sign-up forms? Have you got loyalty in the top nav so customers can find it really easily? What I see is brands tend to put it in the footer a lot, but you're missing key places like the account section, which customers visit a lot to review their orders, for example. So I would say those are my top 3 key suggestions to start off with.
Amazing. So keep it simple, keep it really compelling, and make it really obvious that it exists.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So then let's say your program's live, it's the end of year 1, but you're still not quite hitting that benchmark. What areas would you look at optimizing first if you were looking at a brand's performance?
I would look at what the redemption journey looks like. So with LoyaltyLion, you've got obviously the loyalty page, which is great. Customers can visit that to check in on their activities and ways to earn, but also how customers can use those points. So maybe thinking about, or could I add my redeem rewards notification? Could I add the redeem at checkout reward, which does perform very well? So those quick wins in terms of just making it really easily accessible again will help take your program to the next level. In addition to that, not just on-site, but off-site as well. Think about your email channels, particularly your flows. Make sure you've got kind of your reward available ones. You've got your points expiry flows set up, things that are going to hook the customer to come back for their next purchase and use their loyalty points. And even not just kind of the customers that are already enrolled. You need to really look after those guest shoppers and make sure that you've got loyalty highlighted in your, for example, guest purchase flows. Are you using personalized messaging to show different content to loyalty members versus not? So that's the second point. I'd really just look at your communications, especially also through just your standard kind of marketing messaging, how much you really highlighting the value of loyalty there. And last but not least is making sure everyone in your business is really aligned. You want to push loyalty, not just through email. Think about your other channels such as SMS, TikToks, your social media channels, wherever you see work for your customer. Make sure you talk about the loyalty program and the benefits. I know I've seen some brands take advantage of like walkthroughs within TikToks and shouting about the amazing perks and benefits are on offer. And I think that's really effective to just showcase the work that you put into this as well.
Just to add a couple of things as well, I think we see a lot of brands when sales in summer, perhaps when sales are a bit low, brands really use loyalty as a big lever to kind of keep excitement of the brand, engage with their customers more, do some flash promotions or flash rewards initiatives during those lower months so they can keep the excitement, keep the brand engagement up. I think those kind of tactics and kind of really not sweating your loyalty, but really kind of engaging with your program and engaging with how you can use your program to engage with customers is really powerful to kind of take you to that next level. I think the fundamentals, sort of Hannah touched on it, right? But the fundamentals and really listening to our very skilled onboarding and customer success managers, they are speaking from years and years of experience and kind of know what works. They're kind of working really closely with them. And I think the last point I wanted to mention was working top of funnel, which Hannah also kind of mentioned, but you want to be driving enrollment because that is the top of the funnel. The more customers you can enroll, the more you can engage, the more you can communicate with, the more you can really position the benefits of your program and your brand. So really working top of funnel will help you kind of get to that top performing benchmark.
Absolutely. There's a lot to think about there. And I love that you've brought in sort of different elements of an entire team working on those loyalty programs, and you're looking at integrating it into the full marketing strategy, getting different departments on board, tying it in with product launches at different times of the year, etc. It makes it feel very integrated, which is super important. Fantastic. And finally, let's look at the holy grail. Let's say you're consistently hitting that average benchmark, but it's time to take the leap into high performing. What would you recommend a brand do to make that jump?
Well, first off, congrats that you're kind of got a program in a really good place. I'd say I've been working with hundreds of loyalty programs for quite a few years now, and I'd say probably the biggest thing, which Freddie has already touched on, is just making sure you're keeping the program really fresh and interesting, and just tailoring your business offerings to your customers. So I would say something that has grown in huge popularity, and it probably has been kind of popular in the past, but even more so recently, is leveraging those different promotions. So offering up maybe different reward types and initiatives. And one in particular that I've found works really well to really target that top of funnel customer that Freddie's already mentioned is gated access, things such as member only pricing, maybe products that are only available or designs that are only available for your loyalty customers. Really offers a tailored experience, and it really kind of entices customers to actually get involved in the program. It's really obvious, like the value there straight away to creating an account, and then obviously raising awareness of the loyalty program moving forward. So that's definitely something that is worth thinking about for your loyalty program this year.
Absolutely. So to reach those exclusive upper echelons of high performing, you need some exclusive experiences and rewards for those customers.
Exactly. Yeah, honestly, that would be the thing that stands out the most with a lot of kind of top performing brands that I work with, is they work those types of things into their calendars in the year. So maybe once every 6 months that you could do a week, for example, for your loyalty members, or even a weekend, depending on how much lift that you can do. But that is something I would really stress to think about going into the latter end of this year, and maybe slotting one in where you've got a space available.
And you really want to reward your most valuable customers, right? So looking at your top tiers and really thinking deeply about how those customers, like what those customers value from you and your brand, and how you can provide that, right? Like they are your most valuable customers. They need nurturing, they need looking after. You should be rewarding them more so than your other customers if you can.
Yeah, I'd say, like, especially with that's something that's quite popular, is like things, invites to events, maybe pop-ups. That's something that I guess everyone's probably seen on social media has grown in huge popularity, is like little pop-ups for coffee shop dates or whatever, and they're really nice to recognize your kind of, like Freddie said, top tier customers. And it's not necessarily like you having to set up particular awards, and it might just be something that you're doing already, that you can just like easily implement off the back of doing those initiatives already.
Absolutely. And Hannah, I know actually one of the brands you work with, to go back to those exclusive weeks that you mentioned, the Inky List is a great example of that, isn't it? The Inky Insiders, I believe they've just run another one. So we're keen to see what the results are.
Yeah, exactly. They ran one very recently. I love working with Inky List, so hey, if you're watching, they are a fantastic example of a brand that really showcases how you can treat your loyalty members differently. They have their Inky Insiders. So yeah, they were super happy with the results that came from that, and I hope everyone took advantage, because they had some really cool kind of benefits and free gifts that they did during that week as well. So yeah, make sure you take advantage next time if you didn't this time.
Absolutely, well worth a program that's well worth checking out as a consumer, as much inspiration as a loyalty marketer as well. Fantastic. So those are our benchmarks, the why, the what, and then the how to reach them as well. Freddie, how do we actually get our hands on these benchmarks within LoyaltyLion?
The short answer is they are not currently in LoyaltyLion yet. We do know that brands want to track not just their performance to date, but also kind of looking ahead so they can budget and plan like where loyalty is going. But they're not in product just yet. We are currently listening to feedback from customers and brands. We are still listening to what brands are looking for from benchmarking and what is the most relevant and what kind of information they want to see from benchmarking in product. Once we have confidence that we have full understanding of that, then yeah, we want to bring that into product within our dashboards for sure. But right now, it's currently not in product, and it's currently being used on a one-to-one basis with our CSM team.
Amazing. So these are super hot off the press in that case. And as Freddie said, there's a lot that goes into it. So the good news, though, is that you can actually find these benchmarks on our website. If you just scan the QR code that you can see on screen right now, or head to loyaltylion.com/resources/revenue-forecast. Quite the mouthful. I'd probably just scan the QR code. But with our online calculator, you can actually create your own personalized loyalty revenue prediction based on your GMV band and your industry. So super cool, and a big thanks to our team for getting that live and online for this session. So whistle stop tour, there you have it, our loyalty benchmarks and how to hit them. Thank you so much, Freddie and Hannah, for talking us through that. Lots of great advice, lots of great data that we can use to really confidently talk about the impact of our loyalty programs. Really appreciate you and your insights. Now on to our next session. We are really getting them in these days. A great agenda here. Our next session, we're going to be talking to a brand that is doing great things and really hitting those benchmarks. I'm going to be handing over to another of our customer success team, Hannah Yaffe, who is joined by Fabio, Digital Marketing Manager at Never Fully Dressed. Let's pass over to them and hear their loyalty story in their own words. We will see you soon, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.